Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns, and I'm about to present to you a video from the November 7th, 2016 LALB meeting entailing a complaint that I filed with regard to Marvin Henderson, who is a convicted felon. You will see the link for his felony conviction just below this video. He has been illegally representing himself as a notary for some approximately 12 plus 16, 28 years illegally. The complaint was filed, and you're going to see them finally decide to present this to the board. Now, we were under no illusions that this board was going to do anything, and that's exactly why we went ahead and sent it to Jeff Landry, the Attorney General for the state of Louisiana. Well, actually, the Secretary of State sent it on to Scott Perilou for criminal prosecution. Trust me, nothing's going to happen with that. Scott Perilou is probably the most corrupt district attorney in this state, and we will be providing further evidence of that in coming days. But make no mistake, Scott Perilou is not going to do a darn thing with regard to this, and we're going to give you some documentation. We'll show you a past notary episode involving a notary right there in Scott's own office, for which he expressed rank indifference on. It's a very detailed article. You can click on it. But at any rate, you will see the material that we supplied to Attorney General Jeff Landry. We also supplied it to the Federal Bureau of Investigations. But not surprisingly, the auction board says, well, we're helpless on this situation, you know, and so you're going to see that particular episode. You're going to see me confront Larry Bankston head on, as I so frequently do at these meetings. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and break away and see the issue confronted at the November 7th, 2016 LALB meeting. Thank you so much.
The next item is complaints filed against Marvin Henderson by Mr. Burns on August the 4th, alleging that Mr. Marvin Henderson was without the legitimate notary license. There was a corresponding complaint filed by Mr. Burns concerning Jeff Henderson as it relates to Mr. Jeff Henderson knowing or should have knowing that his father had a felony conviction which had not been pardoned. I have met with the Secretary of State's office. They have turned this matter over to the district attorney. I do not believe there is any jurisdiction in this office for either one of the complaints, and pending whatever action may be taken through Secretary of State and or the district attorney's office. Until that time, this particular complaint for Marvin Henderson first, I'd like to deal with that one. I don't believe there is any action that we can take at this time because it is a claim against the noted, not as it relates to his actions as an auctioneer.
I move to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
Yeah, oh yeah, I definitely want to make a comment. Assuming she's got a second. If there's no second, then it would die. Is there a second?
Is there a second?
Well, how ironic that Mr. Bankston would make the statement that it's not auction related, because I can show you the video where Lauren Kleinpeter specifically stated that my belief of whether Ms. Edmonds was committing payroll fraud or not also was not auction related. But you said there's no question Mr. Burns is out there issuing false and misleading reports. Nevertheless, not one document from Auction Sells Fast was ever brought in here to deal with anything auction related. I would submit that if even one vehicle or equipment transfer has taken place under that notary, there most certainly are false and misleading reports being issued out to the public by someone putting a notary stamp on something when they don't possess that valid notary. So I disagree once again with you sharply, Mr. Bankston, and I find it very interesting how you can waver about what does pertain to the auction industry and what does not, depending upon who is appearing before this board. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Just in response to that, just so that the commission is aware of this, notarization by an individual, even if his license would ultimately be revoked, all actions previously taken by that notary remain to be valid and are not subject to attack under Louisiana law. The question of it going forward until such time as there is some determination by the Secretary of State's office or the district attorney, in my opinion, the board has no jurisdiction as it relates to Marvin Henderson.
I actually can't argue with that. I actually think that's sound, and I would agree with you. But I want to know why that wasn't the case when I came here, because you most certainly said, even though Mr. Kleinpeter said to you, whether Mr. Burns believes it or doesn't believe it. Ms. Jacobs will recall that she asked for the charges to be dismissed. She asked for a motion for summary judgment. It didn't get taken, but he was very clear. He said whether he believes or doesn't believe, it has nothing to do with the auction industry. And Mr. Bankson, you sure didn't hesitate then to charge headstrong on. So once again, I will say, I agree with your argument that you just made.
Thank you.
You made a good argument. I want to know why you didn't make the same argument September 17, 2012. That's what I'd like to know.
Thank you, Reverend Phillips.
Very briefly, in terms of what Mr. Bankson has just conveyed to the board, did we find, his findings, find any information that had relationship to that stamp to auction business? Simple question. Did he find it? Because he didn't say that.
It doesn't matter whether there was a notary on an auction item. The question is, the regulations of notary is not this board. So to the extent that we have no jurisdiction, as Mr. Jacobs had mentioned.
But if it was in relationship to auction business, this board does.
It is, a complaint was filed on Mr. Burns with the auction board. It is presently pending. Until such time as that board or the district attorney or Secretary of State takes some action, that issue is not within our jurisdiction.
But Mr. Bankson, again, let me just say this, because what you're saying is one thing, what you're alleging is another. I asked a simple question. Was there any finding relating to the Henderson auction of that stamp being used to conduct auction business?
None.
Okay, that's all you had to
Included
answer.
look.
Next item is Jeffrey Henderson.
Let that be on the record.
I'm sorry.
Y'all didn't move on my motion.
Yeah, we
Go
have,
back, motion and a
Motion.
second.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You opposed?
Jeff refused.
Yeah, you refused.
Well, can I ask, was that discussed in executive session? Because I want to know why he was in the room if it was.
There's no prohibition for that.
Oh, really?